Welcome to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
What are your thoughts on the comparison thing, even outside of the music industry? Because I think a lot of people deal with that.
Oh yeah,
I deal with that.
Oh yeah, I mean, me too. I was before I did the work that I do with artists. I used to do this work with pastors.
Council pastors?
Yeah, and
I'm not sure if I knew that.
Yeah.
Was this when you were a pastor?
So I had an organization that we started in 2001 that I was a part of really up until the time I moved to Nashville.
Which was
2017.
Yeah.
And I was doing the work essentially that I'm doing now was alongside of my regular day job as a pastor. I was overseeing this organization and doing this organization, working with pastors and their spouses. And yeah, I would see it there. I saw it there as a pastor. So I'm not, that's part of the ability, I think, to do the work that I do is being aware of these tendencies in myself and how corrosive they can be.
Yes.
So that I can help someone else.
100%.
Self-awareness is really key for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would see it. And I mean, pastors struggle with that. Artists struggle with that. So I agree. This is a particularly nasty human disease,
For sure. And what do you tell them? I mean, the one thing that I think of a fair bit is just that everyone has a different story and there's so many layers and we are such complex people. Like this, my friend Alan one time said he sometimes has thought in this way before where like you take, for example, a person like you. Well, you have a particular upbringing, you have particular parents, you have a particular ethnicity, you went to particular schools, you have particular things that were against you and for you and opportunities and life experiences, and you happen to have a wife and you have kids. Like there's this whole world of story wrapped up in Chad Karger, like so much. It's so complex. And the you're 50 years old, right?
That's right.
So and you have these 50 years of all of this experience, but it's not just you. Like even Lincoln, he's almost 10. There's a lot going on with him, and me. Like every person has so much going on, and he just said like this just blows his mind. If you were to picture just sitting, say, on a hilltop overlooking an interstate, and just think about how many people drive past you, and just think about every one of those people has that story. It's like a world of story wrapped up in that one person. But it's not just one story going down the interstate. It's like there's one. Now they're going the other way. Like so many. Life is so complex. And that's one thing that I remind myself of at times when I start dipping into that comparison thing is, look, you're the only you, man. There's no one else. There's not another you. So it's just at a base level, it's unfair to compare because no one else has your experiences. You don't have their experiences. And so everyone's just so different. And I also think like maybe this comes from the American dream or kind of the whole pick yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever. But don't you think also in recent years, there's been kind of maybe a emphasis on one's ability to carve out a path for themselves. Sure, working hard is important and having goals and all that. Obviously it's important. But man, someone's upbringing and their atmosphere and their environment and their surroundings and their parents and their friends that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
You're basically saying like once you factor in all that, there's really no comparison.
There's really not.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I think of too is like, well, instead of focusing on me comparing myself to someone else, how about I compare myself to my own potential? You know what I mean? Like that's where the attention should go. But I still struggle with it. So what are some of your tips when you talk people through that?
I mean, I think this is, something that we labor, with the hope of heaven kind of thing, like that in partnership for me, from a faith perspective, in partnership with my friends and the people who love me, and of course the Holy Spirit at work in me. It's like, this is the thing that I will work until my dying day to fully dismantle, this is one of those things. I think you're exactly right. It's like being comfortable in your own skin, like recognizing, embracing, this is who I am and I'm not all of those other things. And this is what, for right now in my life, I'm called to do, not all those other things, you know. And I think social media intensifies all of this. This is like, it just turbocharges this habit of our being, you know, because the whole thing, that's what it's all about. You're constantly scrolling and checking out
Oh yeah.
everybody's highlight reel, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's a particularly bad thing for this habit of ours, you know?
Yeah.
But I would say that thing that you're kind of getting at there at the end is like for me to begin wrestling with, you know, the why, the purpose of my life, and become singularly focused on that, you know, and that's the thing. It's like, and you know, while mine may be similar to someone else's, everybody's is a variation, you know, and so mine's differentiated from another person's, and so I can, if I really, you know, commit myself to be the person that purpose calls me to be, then I can throw myself into that, and I can seek wisdom and get counsel and learn from my mistakes and progress. And I can also be grateful as opposed to resentful for the people who are alongside of me doing their thing. So cultivating gratefulness, you know, gratitude, I think is really key to offsetting comparison. And, you know, is I can be grateful and celebrate with someone else's success.
Yeah.
And realize, like you're saying, all of us have a part to play. You know, if it's a collective of artists, it's like all of us are telling a story slightly different. So be bold and tell it, you know.
Yes.
Pastors, all pastors, you know, they lead all kinds of congregations. And so those congregations demand, you know, unique abilities and skills. So fully embrace that and live into that.
Yeah.
You know? So I think the first thing for me is just really getting squared up on the why, you know, and really understanding that and really digesting that, you know.
Yeah. I think the comparison thing gets ugly quick because you tend to.
It's a race to the bottom.
It is, yeah, and it really leads to jealousy very quickly.
There's no light at the end of that tunnel.
Yeah, and then jealousy leads to cynicism, and then bitterness, and oh man,
all the bad fruit.
Yeah, all the bad fruit, and then you meet that person if you haven't yet, and you realize, oh, they're kind of nice.
Yeah.
you know, you justified their success by thinking they're a demon or thinking they're just not a good person. Turns out they're actually a great person.